and let them know why they should be really pushing hard today, more than they were even 3 months ago?
Oh yeah, I mean, listen. First of all, let's understand something here. This economic shock is to say it's severe is an understatement. Okay, you saw unemployment numbers today again, right? Another 4.5 million, right? And nobody really knows when this is going to end. Now, let me explain to everybody who's watching home prices. Okay, home prices do not fall quickly. They never do. They always fall. It might take a year for the drop in home prices to be reflected. And the reason for that is that nobody puts their house on the market for $500,000 today and then next month says, nah, bring it down to $350,000. That never happens, right? You put your house on the market for $500,000. Then you wait a month. And if nobody buys it, then you call your realtor and you go, maybe let's lower it to $475,000. And then you wait a month. And then you go, well, let's lower it to $450,000. And you wait a month, and then finally someone sells one for $400,000, and now the comp in the area is $400,000, and prices start to come down. And that takes time, right? Home prices during the last meltdown started falling in 2007, but nobody really paid attention to it until 2008, right? It took a while. So my point to everyone is this, and I've told this to several people this week. One woman called me and said she's thinking about selling her house at the end of the year. And I went, well, look, I mean, it's your schedule, but I'm just telling you, if it were me, I wouldn't wait until the end of the year. My guess would be, my strong guess would be that by the end of the year, prices will have dropped 10%. And by next spring, maybe another 5 or 10%. So to wait right now seems like it'll cost you money. Because if you wait until your home's going to appraise for, instead of your home appraising for $800, it only appraises for $600. Your line of credit's going to be a lot smaller. You might not be able to do it at all. So I know this sounds, the problem, it sounds self-serving because yes, I originate HECM. So, it sounds like I'm just saying that I'm using the virus to tell people, well, it's, first of all, everybody can know I sold my house last month. I closed on February 29th, and it's maybe the only thing I've ever done in my life that was good timing. I'm usually the guy who buys high and sells low. That's generally my preferred methodology. But this time, I sold the house last month. I couldn't be happier. I don't think there's any question that home prices are going to fall. Banks are already, forward mortgages are a mess. I mean, I saw one last week it was like 4.5% and 3 points. That's, instead of the bank saying we don't want to do mortgages, they just make the terms so onerous that nobody wants one, right? So, I mean, if you're going to do it, if you ever considered, if you said, look, I need a safety net, you'd probably do, and you do it now before home prices fall. It could be, look, home prices could very easily fall 20% and not come back for 3 years, 4 years.
Yep.
Easily.
So what would you say to...
That is not a far off scenario.
What would you say to the older homeowner out there today, 62 and older or 60 and older, and they're contemplating a reverse mortgage? What would your advice be?
Oh, I think everybody should do this. I think that if you're over 62, you should look at what your options are for accessing that equity. You can look at a HELOC. We can compare a HELOC. There's nothing wrong with comparing all the available choices, right? And then you can make a decision on what's the best choice. But if you're sitting there right now looking at where we are today, we should all realize things don't go according to plan. The reason to have a HECM line of credit is not because you're forecasting that your life is going to be perfect from this point forward. Okay, if your life's perfect, then don't borrow the money. Then you don't have to pay it back, and who cares? It's a non-issue. But if you don't set up that line of credit now, and then a year from now you go, wow, I really needed that, you might not be able to do it.
Better to have it and not need it.
Right. Isn't that just more prudent? I mean, and everybody that has a mortgage, you already have a mortgage balance, and maybe you owe a couple $100,000, and you're going, well, I can make the payments. Great, make the payments. Switch it to a HECM and make the payments. When you have a HECM line of credit and you make payments into that, right, dollar for dollar, that money goes on your line of credit. So let's say that you switched your mortgage over to a HECM and you made the payments every month of $2,000 or something. Well, at the end of the year, you will have paid in $24,000. And that 24 grand will be available on your line of credit, dollar for dollar. So if you get to the end of the year and something goes wrong, the roof falls off the house or whatever happens, you can pick up the phone, call the servicer and say, hey, send me my 24 grand back. And they will. Try doing that with Bank of America. It won't work. I mean, it's just once you reach a certain age, it's just safer to have this kind of mortgage. And I've been convinced forever, if this was called a retirement mortgage, there'd be a line of people from here to Disneyland waiting to get one. Because it's got this term reverse mortgage that we ended up with this sort of stigma attached to it that's kind of irrational, right? And it's kind of an irrational stigma. I mean, people all the time, they say, oh, I don't like reverse mortgages. I'm like, well, do you like FHA mortgages? And they go, oh, yeah, no, FHA mortgages are fine. I'm like, but not HECMs? I mean, you do realize a HECM is an FHA mortgage, right? I mean, it just is. It's an FHA mortgage that gives you the option of whether you pay it or not, and they only let you do that because you're old.
Yep.
If Shannon, at 30, you may have heard me say this before, I said it at Normal, if 35-year-olds could get HECMs, it would be the only loan in the country. Nobody would ever choose the other kind.
Well said. Well, Martin, thank you for that. Really appreciate you coming on the show today.
Thank you. I enjoy your show every day.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time and sharing with us. And folks, if you want to leave your comments on today's segment, you can do that in the comment section below. Also, be sure to share this with other HECM professionals. You can do that on the social media links found on this page. And don't forget, you can subscribe. Just click on the subscription button right above this video frame, then you'll never miss an upcoming episode on YouTube as well. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next week for more reverse mortgage news, commentary, and analysis.